Hi, it's Fiona Fernandez of By Few Handcrafts, and I'm just doing an updated version of my left-handed starting to crochet video, because in my original one I was doing yarn under on the first pull up of the loop. So I'm going to do this one with yarn over on both. So when I start teaching people to crochet, I show you how to hold the hook. So I tend to hold my hook like this in my left hand, and when I'm doing right-handed, I tend to go like this. That's a knife grip, and this is more of a pencil grip. So whatever you're comfortable with, work out what works for you. And just remember that the hook is doing most of the work here. This hand is holding the yarn. So I place my yarn, I make it about a tail, the length of my hand, so I can sew things in. And to do my first slip knot, I do a loop over what I call the working yarn. So that's going off to my ball of yarn. I'm using acrylic 8-ply marble for this video, and then I turn that little loop over the top of the working yarn and pull up a loop. Now I've always done it like this with my fingers. I've seen people do it with their hook going da-da-da, but this is the way I work it. So this will slip the working yarn through your loop, and we pop that on our hook and just tighten it a little bit. So when you first start, don't do it too tight. I tend to use a 5mm hook to start with, teaching people, because I just find that works quite well. So what we're aiming for, hook in this hand at that angle, and I'll come down a little bit. In this hand, I put my yarn on my hand through my little finger, turn my hand over and dive my pointer finger. Now I've gone too tight there, so come close to your hook, do that, slide it along a little bit, just enough to turn your hand through like that. These are holding the yarn, and that gives you tension. So we want tension. We get a few bits of tension everywhere. So then I'm going to use my middle finger and my thumb to hold the tail, which will become my work. So basically I'm holding it in this position. Finger up there. Some people have it, up a little bit higher, but just do what's comfortable for you. And some people even need to do a double loop in there around their finger, or I've seen people do double loop around their little finger. So, it may change, but this is the way I roll. So we've got our yarn and our hook. I'm pulling up on the hook a little bit. I've got the nose. I'm standing up right now, so it's I'm sort of going sideways for you, but when I'm sitting down to crochet, I've got it like this. So basically I'm doing yarn over my hook and then pull through the chain, the loop on your hook, and then turn your hook back around so that it's facing down. So I'll come up and do it close to the screen in a minute. Just so I'm actually sitting at the table crocheting, and this is, whoops, so now see what happened there? That's because I didn't turn my hook enough to the side. So when you're coming through that loop, if you go through straight with your hook straight like that, it'll just come off. Good little demonstration for you. Okay, so basically we're just going to keep our chain flat here like this, so you can see the little V's, and then go yarn over, pull through a loop. And I've gone to the side a bit, so I'll just come up so you can see that a bit better. So I'm just standing up to show you now. So I'm keeping my hook facing to the floor when I'm sitting down, this little nosy bit of your hook. And we go yarn comes over the hook, and I'm pulling up on the hook a little bit, and I'm pulling down on the yarn here, on the work here, and pulling it through the loop, and I turn my hook sideways a tiny bit towards myself, and then back up to the top in slow motion. So I'll go a little bit faster now. As soon as I get 2 or 3 chains down, I move my fingers up to hold my work. So I'll just go normal speed for Fiona. Whoops. Okay, so I get to about there, and then I just change my fingers, and that happens. It just falls off occasionally. Don't worry about it. Just keep going. All right, so I've done it fairly loose just for the exercise. So we've got, I'll show you how to count them. You count the loops. We don't count the little knot on the end. We count these whole chains. So they look like V's. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So now I'm going to go straight into doing a double crochet. So in Australia we use the UK terms generally. US terms, it's a single crochet. So we're going to go into the second chain from our hook. So that's the first chain there. We don't count the one on our hook. That's just a loop. And the second chain is sitting right there. You see that? Get my focus right. Okay, so if you straighten it out a bit, you can see this is one chain and this is the second chain. Now, the Crochet Guild recommend to start by going through both, under both there, but I struggle with that a tiny bit, so I don't usually do that. But if you, it depends what look you want on the bottom as well. So I'll just stick with the way I would teach generally. So 1, 2, we're going to go under that. I go under the top loop, and I just find it easier when you're first starting out. Pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through. So do that. So we're just going to go into each one, into the chain, yarn over, see, over, and pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through 2. So as you get going, you can see your little stitches there, see? We've done one there, one there. So on this end, we can see that we've got a chain that we started with at the end, and that's the top of the stitch there. So we don't count the chain on the end when we're counting stitches for this stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. So I'll just go back in there. Now, if you were in my other video, I was doing yarn under like this. So under is when the yarn's going under your hook, but I'm trying to keep it strictly yarn over for most of my videos now, unless it's needed for the yarn under. Yarn under is good if you're doing tight things and you want a tighter stitch. It really does make a difference, like it reduces by a whole row when you're doing it. So yarn over, pull through 2. So this is called double crochet. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. I'll do a couple of rows just to get you started. I think my other videos are all individual ones, so this one I'm doing a few stitches together. Just keep on going, and if you're doing a simple stitch, it's just, you can sort of, once you get used to it, it's a really nice rhythmic relaxing thing to do. It can be a bit stressful at the beginning when you're learning, because it's like, what, where's the stitch? Pull that through, and now this is my last stitch. We don't count the knot at the end here, we count this chain. So the chain came around here, and go in there, yarn over, pull through 2, and that's our last stitch. So you can sort of see that it sits quite nice and flat. Now I'll count my stitches. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you end up with one less than what you started with on the chain. If you end up with less, it means you've missed a chain along the way, and I always recommend people undo their work really slowly to see where the chain has been missed. So I'm going to do one chain and then turn our work, and then we're going to go back down and do another row. So just keep in mind, when you're doing double crochet, we're going to go under this first stitch. See the first stitch here? So the one there is the chain up, and then this stitch underneath is the top of the stitch. See the little hole there? If you're doing work with larger stitches, like the next one up, half treble or a treble, if you're doing those stitches, they make a taller stitch when you do the 3 chain, and you'll go into the next stitch. But for double crochet, just to get straight sides, we're just doing a single stitch like that, and it gives you a nice little corner where your chain was. So you're going into the little hole there, which is underneath the top of the stitch, and you have 2 pieces of yarn over the top. And we want to go yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2. Just keep going. So we go into that stitch there, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, and just keep going. You can pull it out straight to have a look at it if you're not sure of your stitches. It's a good way to learn to read your stitches as well, is to have a really good look at them, see that the top is like a V, and then the side sits, well for me I'm left-handed, so it's sitting like this. I do have a right-handed video as well, and that one is yarn over. And there's also a left-handed granny square video. I'll have to go back and check that one, see if I'd yarned under or yarned over. Alright, so we're coming up to the end. And here's my last stitch. We can see it quite, I like using this yarn to start with. It's just acrylic, but it holds its form really nicely and it's easy to see what you're doing. So this one we can see this V here. And so we're going to go into that and see we've got 2 on the hook. And if you just look around here, that's where the chain was, okay? So make sure you go into this last stitch. If you miss it, your work will start going on an angle in like this. And same at the other end. It's easy to miss them at first when you're first learning, but you get the idea then of what happens if you do miss a stitch. It'll go at an angle. If you're putting too many stitches in, it will go out the other way. So you're actually increasing and decreasing. All right, so there we go. And then to do the next row, we just go chain 1 and turn. So you can chain 1 and turn, or you can turn then chain 1. It's up to you and what you like the look of and what you're making. So just keep it consistent. Do it the same way every time. Doesn't that look lovely? So if we're going to go up, I'll just go up to the next stitch. So if we're going to go to I'll turn it back for a minute. If we're going to go to a half treble, we do another chain. So we do 2 for half trebles and turn our work. Now this time we're not going to go into this one here because we're going to count this as a stitch. So yarn over for this one, put it into the top of the stitch, pull up a loop, and for half treble we're going to go through yarn over and through all 3 stitches, 3 loops on a hook I should say. So that ends up the same height as your 2 chain. Yarn over, pull up a loop, all 3. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3. I'll just finish the row like that. And just, now my ball's getting a bit tight here, so I just pull a bit of yarn off my ball, or have your ball sitting somewhere that it comes off freely. You don't want that getting tight. It can affect your tension. Yarn over, pull 3, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 3, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 3. Now I keep centering back to my hook like this on whenever I'm stitching. I come back to that position and pull it up your hook like this a bit, so that don't stay down in this neck of the hook because your stitches will be tighter. I used to do that years ago. What's wrong with why can't I get my stitches on my hook? It's because you've got to work it across your hook a bit to use the thickness of the hook there, the shaft of the hook. Right, so we're up to our last one. So let's look at the top just to see it before we do it. So we can see that the top of the stitch, if you have trouble with this, use stitch markers and put them in when you finish your row. So we can see that stitch there. So there it is. And all 3. Now I should have, what did I say, 12. We count the first chain because we're counting that as a stitch. So there's 1 and that, so counting that as a stitch brings it up like that, okay, and gives us that little stitch there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Good. Right, we'll do one more row. We'll go to treble. and then you've got all 3 stitches in one video. So we're going to do 3 chain this time. 1, 2, 3. There are other ways to do stitches up the side. I just found one by Nastasia, so look her up. She's got a cute way to do a stitch here that doesn't look like chain, but when we're starting out, we just use the chain just to get the idea. So this time we don't go into this stitch, remember, this hole, because that's part of this stitch. So we're going to yarn over, go into the next one, yarn over, pull up a loop, and we're going to yarn over and go through 2, and yarn over and go through 2. Yarn over, go into the next one, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. So it gives you a taller stitch that is equal to the 3 chain. And you can see the difference in the size of the stitch now. See, you've got an extra couple of things going on there. Yarn over, go pull up a loop, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Right, we'll just keep going. I'm stopping in between everything for you. I'm going a little bit slower than I normally do, just so you can see what I'm doing. We're nearly at the end. Pull some yarn off the thing. You can feel it tugging a bit when it gets to that point. I'm going to pull a bit more yarn off. Okay, so we're near the end. Yarn over. We've got to find that stitch there. Hang on a minute. Where is it? There. See how it's like that? Pull through 2. Pull through 2. And that should be our 12, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No. Now, see how I said I think? This is where it can get tricky, right? So you can think you've got your last one. So make sure you count your stitches. And I got caught out by this for a long time. But you've got to see that this one here that we just did is actually this stitch here. The one underneath. It's that one. We need one more because we're counting this as a stitch. Okay, so you need to go into the top of the 3 chain. And the top of the stitch, sorry, top of this stitch here. Here it is, it's hiding. So don't miss that one, it's under there. So that was the top of the 2 chain of the row before. What did I forget to do? I forgot to yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. See, now it's sitting above this, and that's what we want. Now, doing it this way, you do end up with a little bit of a gap there, but it's just good practice to get all your stitches in line and make sure. So I like to put it down on the table, and there's many workarounds as you get working with this work later on to change things. You could put a stitch in there if you really wanted to, but you'll end up with a funny shape as well. Okay, so that's the basics of starting off. So I hope that helped. Yeah, ask any questions in the comments or send me an email, and I'll catch you next time. Ciao.